Hi, everybody. By now, I think you know me, Craig Lerner, founder of Involve, and also Coach Greg. Greg has been Involve's coach and my coach for quite some time now, and Greg and I go back many years in the fitness industry. And Greg is a globally known human performance coach, and for us, he's been invaluable in optimizing our performance. So, Greg, do you want to tell a little bit about yourself today?
Yeah, well, for sure, it's been many more years than I personally care to admit, but it's been a good ride. Um, yeah, Craig, I remember our first conversation. I remember exactly where it was at, and we started talking about human connection and improving performance at the workplace. And I'll always remember that as a pivotal time, that meeting and discussing that and working through how that's going to look with your internal team.
Yeah, and we've really gotten so much value out of coaching, and it's gotten only more intense and more fruitful. And that's actually the motivation for now offering human performance solutions as a service from Involve. So we have been enjoying some success with this since way before COVID. Before COVID, we were doing coaching with Greg as a team and also as individuals. We were also working with a friend of ours, Coach Eric, on some emotional intelligence coaching. And then when COVID hit, we had some choices, and we could have pushed the coaching aside. We could have tried to get really, I'd say, thrifty with our overhead expenses. But what we decided to do was to double down. And what we did was we went into coaching as a group twice a week, because as soon as the world shut down and our teams were remote and everybody was connected now by Zoom, I'd say that my team got fantastically high performing as a culture before COVID. But the idea of how do you stay that connected and how do you keep that community going while we're looking at each other on screen when we're used to so much personal time, it wasn't an easy shift, like it was not an easy shift for most companies out there. So we doubled down and we held together. We made it through COVID. And honestly, the one thing that I knew for a fact for the performance of Involve as a culture and as a company was not long into this COVID shift, this pivot, I knew damn well that when the end of this thing was going to be, and it's still trying to figure out when that's going to be, I knew that this Involved team was going to be so much stronger on the other side. So, Greg, you want to talk a little bit about what we went through?
Yeah, it's been a great ride, Craig, and you're right. You know, when the chips were down, the company invested, and I think what's important is there was a statement I recall you making, saying, you know what, we really need to get solid internally. You know, we can't just talk this talk without kind of walking the walk internally. That's the only way that we can honestly project ourselves forward as a company. So, like you said, you know, we started with, group trainings twice a week. And then we took that and worked, one-on-one to extend that outward for the remainder of 2020. But here's a key I want to make. A lot of times I find companies will look at how do I improve my individual and team member performance? But it really starts at the top. Cultural transformation, it starts with leadership. And that's where you come in. You as a leader made a call and said, you know what? We need this and we need it for these reasons. And organizationally, we need to get strong internally before we ask our team members individually and collectively to elevate their performance. So it's just been a wonderful ride. It's just been incredibly wonderful, and I'm so proud of the team that I've had an opportunity to work with.
Yeah, that's great, Greg. And I appreciate you talking about me that way. But we have some great leaders within the Involve organization that, boy, the leadership training you provided to them we see just a very healthy community at Involve right now, and it's only getting stronger. And when we bring on new employees and new clients, we talk about this Involve family and this culture, I think people really feel it experientially. So that kind of leads us to what we're going to be offering externally. So we've been the test tube for this for years now. So as we've gone through this coaching and this cultural experience and realizing that maximizing business performance is only as strong as what a company can do to maximize its individual human performance. The humans being within the organization make a strong business and a strong brand. So as we've been figuring that out, we started getting smarter and started crafting how we were going to message that out. We're ready now. It's available on our website to look at how we're offering these services. And more importantly than being able to articulate that, I mean, we're a marketing agency, we should be able to do that pretty well. I think experientially it's helped us decide how to build the offering externally. So Greg, let me throw it to you for a minute. From a 30,000-foot view, can you kind of categorize how we offer these human performance solutions externally?
Yeah, I sure can. But before doing that, you made a great point that connection starts at the human level internally and then does extend outward into how you represent yourself as a company. And we're all striving to represent ourselves as best as possible as a company. So in attempting to do that, we offer a cadre or a suite of tools. There's a tool that's based upon leadership growth, one that's a little bit more organizational growth through workshops. There's lectures for individual growth, and there can even be a little more elaborate experiential events from a team growth perspective. So, and it can be done with C-suite coaching, it can be done with workshops, lectures, and events. It's very flexible, very malleable to fit into, any business structure.
Cool. So Greg, a lot of the benefits that this human performance coaching can do for the C-suite, for the management and leadership levels, and the entire employee base for a company, to improve culture, to really play the core values, and to improve performance at the human level, so it improves performance for the company level. That's an incredibly powerful offering for us. But there was one other thing that I thought was very powerful about getting into offering human performance coaching, because we do branding, right? So we are often looked at to either create new brands or to refresh, or what we call do brand optimization, to update brands, core values, culture at that brand level. And I'm excited that what we can do as an agency with Coach Greg, differently than our competitors, is coach in a brand. Now, what does that really mean? That's a cool opportunity. I've been a part of agencies all my life, and normally the branding event is some 90-minute event. There's probably balloons and shrimp cocktail and all kinds of fun stuff that are going on. A lot of pens and backpacks with the new logo on it, but that's so superficial, and most C-suites and CMOs look at that and go, great, we just introduced a new brand and everybody's going to be on board. That's never been good enough for a company like Involve. And I think that while we've done those events, we've pulled the curtain off of the dynamic new logo and talked about everything about that brand so all the employees can hear, that's not really coaching in a brand, because a brand is so much more than those superficial elements that are incredibly important. Let's face it, we do naming and logo design, all those things are very important, but it's really how a brand lives those values. So what we're doing now is offering clients that are engaging in a new branding effort is saying, okay, how can we coach in these brand values and these core values so the top C-suite as well as all the management level leaders now can coach in the new brand. And I think that's another way to look at coaching that has not been looked at in the market before.